An internet service provider claimed that its users averaged 13 hours per week online. To test this claim, a competitor conducted a survey of 240 customers and found that the average time spent online was 12.5 hours per week, with a standard deviation of 5.2 hours per week. Test the claim using a level of significance of 5%.
Okay, so we first need to decide on the null and alternative hypotheses. So the original claim is that the users average 13 hours per week. So let me write that out. Okay. So this is going to be a null hypothesis. We don't always see the claim being the null hypothesis, but it can happen if you're testing that your mean is equal to something, or your proportion is equal to something, or whatever your test is. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as my claim. And then the alternative hypothesis is going to be that mu is not equal to 13. So let me enter that. Okay. So now that we have our hypothesis, our job is to figure out what the p-value is. And it comes down to deciding between the test functions that we're using. We only have 3 of them. We have t-test, 1 prop z-test, and 2 sample t-test. Well, there's no proportion here, so we can rule out the prop z. And there's only 1 sample to work with. So I think we definitely have here a t-test. So that's the function we're going to use to get the p-value. So I'll come over here and under my not at my distributions menu, under stat and tests. T-test is the second option. I'm going to input data from stats. So mu naught is of course the value that you get from the null hypothesis. X bar is the mean of the sample provided, so 12.5. S is the standard deviation of the sample, so in this case it's 5.2. And N is 240. The claim that I'm testing is that, well, actually from the alternative, it's not equals. So not equal to. And we'll calculate that. So the only thing we're really interested in here is the p-value, which comes out to be 0.1376 when rounded to 4 decimal places. All right, so my p-value I need to compare to alpha, the level of significance. So the p-value written as a percentage is 13.76%. Alpha is written here as a percent is 5%. Well, p-value is greater than alpha, and if the p is low, the null must go. Well, in this case, the p-value is not low, it's larger than alpha, so we fail to reject the null hypothesis. And so I just need to fill in my sentence based off of that result. Okay, so the first blank is either going to be is or is not. The decision comes down to the previous step. So since I failed to reject the null hypothesis, I'm going to put is not here. If I had rejected the null hypothesis, I would put is. And then here, the original claim was the null, so I'm trying to reject it. If the original claim was the alternative, I'd be trying to support it. So there is not enough evidence to reject the claim that its users average 13 hours per week.